All right, folks, welcome on into another edition of the High School Huddle, your one-stop shop for everything and all things Section 5 sports. I'm AJ Fellman. That, my friend, is Mr. Carl Jones. Carl, the first week of Roundball Roundup is in the books. The NFL regular season is in the books. The Bills are going to the playoffs. They're getting home games. Roundball Roundup in the books. First week off without a hitch. We are really, we're into January. This is January. This is crunch time for us here now.
No, yeah, it's definitely that time of year. Everything coming to a head right now. You know, Bill season on the back nine, but it's more intense than ever, more coverage than ever, just based off the stakes at play. And then also, Roundball, man, it's dope. It's funny running around with a camera. I feel kind of weird, like we ain't done that in a minute. But it was cool just to be popping into those gems for 5-10 minutes, sometimes longer because of these JV games. But it was cool and having fun and that back and forth highlight realm is always dope.
Speaking of running around with a camera, we got Thad Brown making viral sensation. Him and Dan get a little sprint off. But no, yeah, it was a really fun first night of Roundball Roundup. Like you said, these JV games, man, I don't know if they did something to JV where they changed the scoring or, they're calling more fouls or something like that. These JV games are taking forever. You went to one of a girls' city game that when you went for the scheduled time, JV game was still going on. I went to Penfield and the girls' game, they were playing Hilton, and I was going to get that right off the bat. That game was already still in, the JV game was still going on when I got there. So I don't know what it is. I mean, I played on JV basketball. I got 2 solid years there. I'd probably be a little mad if I had people being like, oh, hurry up, guys, hurry up. We played some pretty thrilling games there for JV basketball. Not to, toot up my game-winning shot against JFK back in the day. But, yeah, these kids, they got to pick it up a little bit.
It's funny, like y'all trying to be on TV. I mean, technically y'all not gonna be on TV, but like, do you want the varsity? Do you want your school to be on TV? Because if so, then let's go. Let's pick it up a little bit. But no, that was definitely a reminder of how basketball works. Because I was like, you pull up, like you think the time, you like, all right, good. I know, like it might still be in warm-ups or something, but like the JV game, there's no chance. And then you get there, it's like, oh, it's 8 minutes left. Am I right? That's say 4 dots. Oh, we still in the JV game. Yeah. I thought I was late or something. Nope, I'm way too early. So yeah, that definitely be frustrating for sure.
Yeah, then you start looking at the players. They're like, could these be varsity? Did they start like really early? Like you're trying to like see if you can find the varsity players, messing around the hallway before the game. But no, it was a good week of games. We had some thrillers. Victor took down Irondequoit. I thought more an impressive showing by Irondequoit for what they were able to do to hang with them. Of course, on Friday night there was a good game scheduled, Franklin versus East, but things got a little chippy. They shut that one down. Nothing really big that went on there. Kind of got overblown a little bit, but anytime, a game gets postponed, it's going to get some headlines. And then the game of the night, which turned out to be at Brighton, a late start because Brighton decides to tip these things off late, which is usually good for us. They took on the Hilton Cadets in boys basketball, went to triple overtime. Solely went to triple overtime because I texted Carl when I got there early in the fourth quarter or something like that. I'm like, all right, Brighton's up 10. Hopefully I shouldn't be here for too long. Well, Hilton goes on a 14-4 run to end regulation, forces single overtime. Brighton was up 2 at the end of single overtime after being down in that first regulation frame. Then they had a kid hit a 2-pointer. Double overtime. Hilton was down 3. John Bianchi hits a clutch 3-pointer with like 20 seconds left to force triple overtime. Then he does the same with the game winner in triple overtime. And I could not stay for the end. This is the first time ever in football, in basketball, here in Rochester. Honestly, I might even think in my time in Minnesota, even those late sectional games where I really wanted to get to it, I could still physically be at all the game. This was the first time I had to leave the game early because, the time crunch was on. We had a lot of games on the show, of course. We had our photog extraordinaire Damon get some stuff. I couldn't stay. I felt really bad, but we got the game on the stream, and it all worked out for the best, even though we didn't get that game-winning 3 on our air with our big camera.
No, it was a crazy weekend. I mean, you had everything on that Friday. You had Merritt Holly Jr. tying school records and going off. I believe that was over at Rochester Prep.
Yep.
Obviously, Victor, the defending state champs, doing their thing over Rondequoit, seeing some good girls hoops. It was a good flavor of Roundball Roundup. We had nice thrillers and OTs, state champs, state finalists at least, going at it, and then Merritt Holly Jr. going crazy. I wish we would have got, or I was able to get some highlights of David John Lipscomb going crazy for Edison. Ended up having like 40 something. I ain't get a bucket from that, unfortunately, but he ended up going crazy too. So just it was a nice little flavor of everything on last week's edition of Roundball.
Yeah, Merritt Holly Jr., the thing with that 47 points, which I didn't even realize till I did Player of the Week this week, he had 47 points and the team had 55. He scored 47 of their 55 points, which, and he's a big man. He shot 0-3, so ain't chucking the ball, that's for sure. But no, congrats to him. A lot of great performances, which makes our segments this week pretty darn easy because we had a lot of good standouts this week. Time to get into our segments. Carl, why don't you start us off with your team of the week, the team that impressed you the most, the team that had the best performances that you were able to gather over the past week.
Cheating a little bit here because this big win technically was last Wednesday, but regardless, 7 days, whatever. The team that took down Victor last week, the Fairport boys basketball squad, nice little win too. Aiden White, 36 points. The big fella was given to him however they wanted it, and then Lashard Lowry, the point guard, with 25. It's a nice little duo over there. I saw them over winter break. They played against Corning, which I believe is out of the Elmira area, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. And those two, you can tell, like they go through them. It's a nice little. I don't know how many pick and rolls they run, but it'd be cool to just see those two just. Hey, everyone, just get out the way and just let us cook. And that's the kind of way that they've been playing, man. And then took Victor down 70 by 8, then took down Gates by 30, and then a 30-point win over Franklin yesterday. Another 26 ball from Lashard Lowry again. So, like, clearly, Fairport, nothing to mess around with. Scott Fitch is obviously a fantastic coach and got his, I don't want to say his name, but like the last name at least on the court now. He's going to be forever memorialized on that court for the great contributions he's given to Fairport. But regardless, man, great coach, really good duo. And it's cool because I know Aiden White, primetime 585, they did a story on them earlier this week, how he's a really good volleyball player. Well, clearly my boy can hoop too. So the fact that he's a dual sport guy, he's cooking on the court too, my team of the week, deservedly so.
Yeah, the thing that really stands out there is, Fairport, they're well coached. They're always competitive come playoff time. But I feel like what usually happens is they kind of slide into the playoffs under the radar. And then we get, impressed by what they do in the playoffs when things really come to show. Fairport took down, Franklin. Sorry, I misread that as I'm looking through the pick and splinters here. The thing that really stands out, now they're getting it done in the regular season. That AAA bracket, Aquinas has really asserted themselves, but now Fairport at the top at 8-2. One thing you do have to mention, I think, with that Franklin game, looking at the box score, the top scores, obviously they got into that a little, tussle with East there. Doesn't look like they had their full arsenal of players in that one. Terrence Thompson wasn't registered in the box score, so we'll see if they can match up at full strength later on. But that's an impressive showing by Fairport for what they've done over the past 8 days.
Yeah, can't wait to see them again because I saw them one time for a little glimpse over winter break, but I'm sure they'll look even better the next time I see them.
My team of the week, and usually we like to pick a team that kind of goes undefeated during a stretch. We got a lot of teams, to pick from. So usually we can pick an undefeated team. The Hilton girls did not go undefeated in their past week. They lost to Penfield on Friday. A very impressive showing by the Patriots, kind of show that they're still going to be around in that Class AA bracket. But when you beat the undefeated Victor Blue Devils girls basketball team that we have talked about before on the show, they came into their matchup last night, 5th in the state. Hilton beat them 74-32. They beat one of the best teams in the state by 42 points. They doubled plus them up. That's ridiculous. They were up 30-17 at the half. They ran them out of the gym in the third quarter, going on a 26-8 run in that third to really just knock the doors off of it. Mallory Highs, 28 points. The junior phenom, 5 3-pointers, 6 rebounds, 6 steals. Ella Clark, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 assists. So you've got 10 steals there from their top 2 players alone, which tells me they were just giving Victor all kinds of troubles. I did look at, it's a type of game where you look at the box score, kind of similar to that Franklin game, and you're like, okay, let's see if I make sure all these players are here, Fehrenbach, Livingston, yada, yada, yada. They were all there for Victor. So unless they all got injured in the first quarter, that's one heck of an impressive win for Hilton, bouncing back from a tough loss on Friday night.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter, and with all the coaching news that's going on, and you kind of scroll past stuff really fast. I scrolled past it really fast because I assumed it was an error. So the fact that you just confirmed it, clearly my eyes weren't deceiving me. I still don't know what happened there. Somebody need to tell me what's going on, or if Hilton literally turned into the 2017 Golden State Warriors for a night and just everything was going down. I don't know, but I mean, clearly, like this whole section, like we've talked about this early on, though, like this year of girls basketball, specifically at the top, it's going to be rugged. It's going to be a bunch of teams competing, and it's not going to really be one team that's going to separate themselves, right? And early on, it was obviously Victor, and deservingly so. But Hilton's like, hold on now, come back down with the rest of us. Come back down with this. This is like a 6-7 team race. We all in this together. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a result like that between two really darn good teams since I've been here.
Yeah, the Cadets started off really strong, earned a number 2 ranking in the state. They beat Canandaigua. They beat a really good St. Mary's team. They lost a close one to a really good Liverpool team. And then, their schedule really kind of eased up. They took down Brighton easily, who's not very strong this year. Churchville, Chili, Webster Thomas, Spencerport, the same. Just, quality wins, double-digit wins in all of them, but nothing really fancy. Then, of course, they lose to Penfield, maybe just because of the fact they haven't played a team of that caliber in about 3 weeks there. So it's really tough to, keep finding your A game. But boy, did they bounce back against Victor. My goodness. Obviously, they're going to get tested tomorrow night on Friday. We'll talk about that game in just a little bit more. But a really impressive game by the Hilton Cadets. They are my team of the week. Time to move on to the Eyes on You team. These are teams that are rising up the ranks, have gained our attention, a team that a little feisty, under the radar. Carl, your Eyes on You team.
Yeah, since I've been here in Section 5, certain names ring a bell for me, right? Like the Pucci family and all that good type of stuff. But another one is the Blankenbergs over at Wayne. And I remember Mason, he was a baller, man. Every time you go shoot or go Wayne game, my boy can give you some threes. You good for some good lights when you get a Wayne game. Well, apparently there's another Blankenberg over at Wayne doing his thing. Mr. Cam Blankenberg, just a sophomore, 230 balls this week. Also let PJ Ostrowski, I believe he's the goalie on the soccer team, if I'm not mistaken. He's also probably like second fiddle on the team. Regardless, I was drawn to my eyes are on the Wayne team because they got another Blankenberg who's clearly like that. I mean, 2 30-point games in a week. I mean, as a sophomore, what he gonna look like in 2 years? And the Wayne is also off to a 9-2 start. Haven't lost to a team in Section 5 yet. Now, caveat: Wayne doesn't play a lot of the top teams in Class A throughout their regular season. A lot of that has to just do with the division that they're in the regular season, or league that they're in, excuse me. But regardless, they're taking care of business, and I don't care who's in front of you. 30 points is 30 points. They will play Newark, I believe, either tomorrow or this weekend at some point, who's a really darn good team in Class A as well. So they'll get to test how good they are in that game right there. I think they have Geneva late. I don't know how Geneva is, but I did see them on the schedule coming up as well, too. But regardless, Blankenberg, another good one. Ostrowski translating his skills from soccer to the court. They're 9-2. Yeah, Wayne, y'all got my eyes for sure.
Yeah, they're going to take Newark on at home. That's going to be Friday night, tomorrow night, our Roundball Roundup. That was the one that immediately I circled for my Roundball Roundup slate. It's pretty rare that we get, such a good matchup that we kind of have to go get on a Friday night. That is certainly going to be one of them. And they have had some quality wins so far this season. They took down Palmac, they took down Rochester Prep. But yeah, it is obviously tough to, compare these Class A teams out in, Wayne County, to a team like, the Pittsfords when they hang around in Class A or East, things of that nature. So it is tough to gauge them, but certainly a standout performance for them so far. My Eyes on You team, I'm going to the girls' side once again, a team that I saw Saturday afternoon take down Mercy in overtime, 57-56, the East girls basketball team. They started off their season with a win, and then they lost by 11 to a pretty quality Mendon team. However, since then, they have racked up 6 wins in a row. It is once again also tough to tell, with these city girls teams, when they play against each other. For example, they beat early college 118-18 this year. Or excuse, that's the boys. That's the boys. Sorry, I got my boys scheduled, but still, tough to tell based off of who they play. But when you get a team like Mercy, not the Mercy powerhouse of old, what they were doing in the 2010s, but still a quality team. They had an impressive game. They were up big in the first half. They kind of let their lead slip away. They got into some foul trouble. But Gabby Brown-Sturdivant, I saw her play, I think maybe once last year, but it was kind of just to, jump in, get 5 minutes of the game, jump out. She'll do some pretty darn crazy things. She was no look passing. She had, she was the inbounder. She passed it off the defender's back, scooped up the bucket. She'll let it fly. There's not a shot she's seen that she doesn't think she can make, which is, it creates some high variance basketball. So if she can get hot, that's certainly going to be a team to watch. They've got and it's not just her. They've got a handful of players, a couple good forwards, some quality wings who can shoot as well. Like I mentioned, they got in some foul trouble, which really kind of, hampered them against Mercy a little bit when they came back. But they got it done in the clutch when it mattered most. They made their free throws to win the game. They played some lockdown defense. They only gave up 1 field goal in overtime. And it's going to be tough for them in Class A. There's always some quality teams there. Sutherland, Aquinas, HFL, East Ridge is off to a really good start this year after a couple down seasons. But East is definitely a team you've got to keep an eye on. In Class A, they've got Rush Henrietta tonight. As we film this on the 11th, that should be a win there. And then they've got a real tester game against Bishop Kearney next week. I don't know if they can hang with the Lady Kings, but certainly any sort of a respectable showing will prove that they're legit once again.
Yeah, I saw Brown-Sturdivant once last year, and it was one of those games, and not to get too nerdy for the people at home, but my camera focus just wasn't working. So I was so frustrated with that I really wasn't locked into the highlights themselves. But then when I got back to the station and looked at the film, I'm like, hold on, who is this girl that's on the court? And I don't even know if I called her name in the highlight just based on how the story went down. But then I knew then that she was all right. And the fact that she came back for another year and it's gotten better, good for them, man. And she really good. AJ not lying. And it's not like she's just like a good player. It's some little flash to it. She'll do floater from the free throw line. I looked at my highlights last year. I'm like, yo, is you serious? She'll all the steals, all the type of the risky steals she'll try to take. If you want to listen, if y'all want to go see just someone just say, you know what, I'm out here having fun, she'll provide that for you for sure.
Yeah, 19 in the first half alone in that game. If I didn't mention it before, she finished with 24. And if she can get hot like she did in that first half, watch out, because there are a few players in Section 5 this year that can match her shot for shot when she's rolling. So we got a great slate of games coming up, both in Roundball Roundup on Friday and on the Ice and Beyond. Carl, why don't you lead us off with your game of the week?
Yeah, I don't need to dress this one up too much. Schroeder and Hilton girls basketball. Schroeder 7-2, Hilton 6-2. Both coming off of really impressive wins. Obviously, Hilton, we just discussed what they did to Victor. Schroeder, a really, really close win over Canandaigua, I believe, last Saturday. What more do you want? 2 of the best teams in Class AA in girls basketball going at it. Schroeder 13th in the state, Hilton 9, although that Hilton 9 is definitely going to get much higher after that big impressive win over Victor. Nonetheless, can't wait for that one and to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, obviously Schroeder playing without Mariah Watkins, as we've talked about on the show this year. They got the win over Penfield. They lost a close one to Victor. They're still kind of probably, that Canandaigua game was really impressive as well. That happened last night as well, a big night in girls basketball. That Hilton game would be another really impressive win to maybe put them atop, along with Hilton. But, those are 2 of the best teams in Class AA. It's going to be really fun to see them play each other. And the one thing I did notice later in the season, I just want to, a game to watch for a month from now. There is a Bishop Kearney Schroeder game down the line near the end of the season. Bishop Kearney, we don't get to see them a lot because they play a lot of teams from outside the area, but that should be a good one on Friday night. Probably our lead game in Roundball Roundup. For my game, a game we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that. Batavia Notre Dame and Pittsford in hockey. That game is going to be Saturday at the newly renamed Tim Hortons Iceplex. Once again, not a lot of dressing up you need to do in this one. Pittsford ranked number 2 in the state in large school. They've been moving on up. Batavia Notre Dame at 4th in the state. BND's won 9 straight games after a loss to Will East, so they haven't lost against a Section 5 team this season. Pittsford and Schroeder, they played a thriller on the ice Friday night while we were rounding everything up. Karen Iglesia from Primetime couldn't wait to tell me what had happened in that game as I saw her at the Schroeder basketball game. Schroeder was up 4-0. Then they were up 5-1, and Pittsford came all the way back to tie it up at 5-5. That game ended in a 5-5 tie. Schroeder now number 1 in the state for small schools, by the way. Aiden Brown came off the bench in net to make 18 of 19 saves. Keegan Garver, 2 goals for the Panthers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this Batavia Notre Dame team play. I don't actually know if I've ever seen them play. I might have caught one game of there in a sectional, but it's tough. We don't really get out to Batavia too much. But I'm really looking forward to see this Batavia Notre Dame team play. I know they're looking forward to this game as well, because as we mentioned, I think last week, after this game, they've got one more road game out in Buffalo, and then they play the rest of their games at home. So you can really build some positive momentum going into the postseason, especially if you start this one off with a solid result against the Panthers on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and speaking of the Panthers, I just want to say real quick, I talked about this last time we were on, I believe, how the Canandaigua game at Blue Cross is going to be cool. Well, the little windstorm kind of delayed that a bit. Another game you can watch on the rink, Blue Cross the 16th this time. They'll be taking on Canandaigua. They moved that one back a week. So Panthers got some big games this week. They better bring Leicester. What they call them, skates? Leicester skates up.
Come on, Carl. We know you play dumb with hockey, but you know they're skates.
No. I was about to say boots. I'm thinking like, wait a second. Like, I know they look like boots with the blade on the bottom. That's where I was confused. I'm like, hold on. Do they call them boots with like the blade on the bottom? Regardless, lace up their skates. They're gonna have some big games this week.
Lace up your hockey boots. That's for sure. We're gonna have to work that into a highlight eventually down the line. But that will do it for us on this edition of Roundball Roundup, or not Roundball Roundup. Section 5. No. High School Huddle. I can't get the name of the dang show, so we're both tripping up here. I was thinking about how I was just going to talk about the Steelers-Bills game on Sunday, which I wrote myself into covering because, as some might know, I'm a fan of the Steelers myself. Oh, it'd be cool to cover a Steelers playoff game. And Carl's sitting back there like, yeah, you take the game with, 8-degree wind chills, 30-mile-an-hour winds, snow. Carl might have made the best trade of his life earlier this week when we swapped games.
It's funny. I didn't even look at it was a no-brainer when I woke up in the morning. I'm like, go take the game, especially because slim chance, but like the way things break out, there's a chance that the Browns could come to Buffalo. So I'm like, I'll take it, whatever. And I was in the station yesterday when Snyder said the weather. I'm like, let's go. So yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I was like, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I was already texting our chief photographer, talking about we ran out of hand warmers earlier this month. So I'm like, did we get more hand warmers? I'm gonna need some more hand warmers for this one. But I've been prepared with living out in Minnesota, so I'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'd rather have cold and snow than 35 and rain, obviously. So could be a lot worse. And who knows? Maybe we get a historic snow game or something of that magnitude. But yeah, I bet Bills fans and the Bills team wish they had a dome right now, because that game could get interesting with the weather the way it is.
Very much so.
It's football weather, Carl. It's your favorite term.
No, we're not about to start this today. We're not about to do this today. No. The football weather is not a thing. We need to stop that, people. All y'all at home, if y'all listening, no. Not today, y'all. Nope. Retire.
But the Bills like this weather because they live in Buffalo and they're used to it. They love it, Carl.
Yep. Stephon Diggs likes catching bricks as opposed to when it's 70 degrees outside. Yep. Yep.
Only one of us knows ball, and it's clear who it is now. That'll do it for us on the High School Huddle. We got the name right this time. For Carl Jones, I'm AJ Fellman. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, RochesterFirst.com, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week with another edition of the show.